Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hi folks, Dave with DBSTECHTALK, and today we are going to talk about the RHA T20 Wireless. I want to thank RHA for sending over the T20 Wireless. I do greatly appreciate it. RHA, you're awesome, and I do tremendously appreciate you sending over the T20 Wireless. So the T20 Wireless is the updated version of the RHA T20, T20i that came out a couple years ago and was very well, highly regarded. And I actually never got to hear one. I always wanted to, but I never had the opportunity to hear a T20. Heard a bunch of other RHA products, but the T20 I never got to hear. The RHA T20 Wireless comes in a really nice cardboard box, has a bunch of pictures on it, so it keeps my attention, and has a couple of stickers. You know, has the high-res sticker, so it's got to be good. Has an RHA sticker there, and they have a few specs listed, and it's 16 ohms and 90 decibels of sensitivity, so they're a little hard to drive, not too bad, but they do drive a little bit better with a portable amplifier, but they sound great without also, so no worries there. If you do not have a portable amplifier, you can still drive these very easily. They come with all kinds of accessories, and the first one obviously is going to be your Bluetooth neck band, and this thing is very light, has a nice rubber build on it, and comes out, you have little ear hooks that are color coded with a red dot for the right side. Also, you have a microphone on the right hand side. You have a USB-C charging port and a button that will power them on, go into pairing mode. Also will tell you how much battery you have left. Also, you have a 3-button microphone with play, pause, and volume up and down, and it works very well. Also, you can double click it to skip tracks. It just goes right around your neck, and I find that it's extremely comfy, does not add any extra significant weight, and the microphone helps if you put it on the right side here, Dave. The microphone is right at about the right level for when you have your ear hooks in. It's right about shoulder length. What other accessories do you get in the box? You get a really nice carrying bag that is RHA branded. It's like this foam material, plenty big for all the accessories that you're going to be toting around. As you'll see, you get a plethora of them. You get a tray, a metal tray that has a lot of tips on them. The bottom ones are comply foams, and then you have all silicones with some biflange and singles. And I find that they, if you can't find the fit for your ear, then wow, because they give you plenty of options. They also give you a bag that has a wire clip and a little slider if you want to use that. I find that I haven't used that. You get a charging cable, USB to USB-C. You get some paperwork, some warranty information, user manuals, that type of thing. You also get some tuning filters. Copper ones are treble, and then the black ones there on the bottom are for bass. The reference ones are pre-installed. You also get a wired cable. Now the wired cable does not have an inline microphone, but it's very nicely built. You have a split that is made of metal and also has a little bit of RHA branding on it. And then you have a 3.5 connection with RHA branding. Find that the ear hooks on the wired one are a little bit on the looser side. I wish they were just a slightly stiffer. They tended to just kind of sit on my ear instead of gripping it a little bit, and I just had a little bit of fit problems with them. They would kind of loop around and just kind of dangle and then fall off every now and then. So just like the other ones, they do have the red dot for the right side. The IEMs themselves, the RHA T20s, are very small, and I find them to be a little bit on the chunky side, but not excessive. They're not going to fall out of your ears just because of their small size. You have nice RHA branding with a little bit of a vent on there. Then on the inside it'll say T20 and then left and right indicator. Take the tip off here and you can see the nozzle and the bore. It doesn't have an excessive angle, but I find them to be extremely comfy. Your filters just spin off. Be careful not to drop them as they're extremely small. But for their size, I just found them to be extremely comfortable and very easy to connect. So if you take your little Bluetooth one, here you got your right with your red dot. You find your right. And it just connects right together with the MMCX, and then you do the same side, or to the other side. Loop your little neck band over, and boom, you've got a Bluetooth headset. Get about 12 hours worth of battery life according to RHA with the neck band. I found that I was getting more around 8 to 9 hours of listening time and talk time. But it's so comfortable, it just sits on your neck and it does not have any issues whatsoever. It does have that little bit looser of ear hook, so it may fit your ears, may not as easily, but I just find that it wiggles around just a little bit. Also, the neck band bounces a little bit, so if you walk a lot with a big bounce, or you're running, or something along those lines, it may flop around, so you might have to just tuck it into your shirt a little bit, hold it in place, and I found that worked very well also. These are IPX4 water and sweat resistant, so you can work out in them, mow the grass, that type of thing, but do be careful, don't submerge them or get them super wet. They could fail in that regard. Also make sure that you wash them off when you take them out. That will prevent issues also. Isolation on them is quite good. I find it's about 75 to 80% of outside noises is blocked. When I put them in, I was mowing the grass. It was very hard to actually hear my lawnmower, so they do a very good job of blocking out outside noises. They work very well on public transit, also buses, trains, planes, that type of thing. They block out a lot of outside noise. Loud offices and workplaces, these would work extremely well if you are allowed to wear them. Do recommend that you take them off, or at least dangle them over your ears if you're going to talk to somebody or try crossing the road or something like that. They also are magnetized, so if you have them hanging, they will just dangle down below here and stay connected very well, so you can't lose them. The one nice thing about having both cables is if you do end up using up all your battery on the headband, the wired cable can be connected very easily just by disconnecting your MMCX connector. And as I say that, it won't come off. There we go. They do have a little bit of a grip to them, so you have to give a little bit of a tug, but it's not anything that you have to rip them off and break your MMCX. And then you just, here you go, here's your right. And I just dropped it, testing the durability. These are very well built. As you can see, they are still in one piece. They just connect very easily, and you have converted from being a Bluetooth device to a wired device. And the crazy thing about these is I didn't notice a difference in sounds from Bluetooth to wired. If there was a difference, it was so subtle that it didn't really impact me and say, wow, holy cow. So that's a nice nice touch. One thing also that is a little bit of a concern about this cable is that because these ear hooks bounce around a little bit, as you just saw, I find I have to use the chin slider a little bit, and it kind of holds them in place. So if you don't like using a chin slider, you might have to get used to it. I'm not really a chin slider type person, but I found that this one actually works and holds them in place very well. Overall, I find that the build of the RHA T20 is top-notch, very well built, very well designed, and they have an easiness to change out filters and a very simple way of connecting to Bluetooth and to a wired cable, and comfort is just very well thought out. Isolation of outside noises is very good. I would give them a 9 out of 10 out of the build. The reason being is just this looser ear hook is just a little annoying. Okay, how do they sound? Well, they've got some differences in the way that they do it because of the filters that you can use. So let's talk about the filters real quick. So the filters do sound changing sonics differently than other IEMs with filters. They don't really change the tonality or the balance of the IEM. What they change is the accentuation and attenuation of different frequencies. So we'll start with the bass filter. If you take the bass filter and you put it on, you're going to accentuate the bass. It's going to become thicker, more full, thumpier, and give you more impact. And then it's going to attenuate the treble. The mids will stay the same, but the treble's going to attenuate and come down. You're going to lose air and details, and this is going to become a more darker sounding IEM with big bass. Then if you use the treble filter, which is pre-installed, which is currently on here, everything kind of balances out and is more smooth and more even. You do lose a little bit of sub-bass impact, but you still have good details and clarity, and the mids remain the same as they are with the bass filter, but you get some more treble and sparkle and extension, and it's not as dark. And then if you go to the copper filter, which is the treble filter, you're going to attenuate the bass, and so the bass, you don't lose details and clarity, you just lose impact and thump and fullness. It becomes more mellowed out, and the sub bass is rolled off. You don't really get any sub bass, and then the mids pretty much stay the same, and then the treble is accentuated and becomes brighter and just more detailed and very aggressive, and too much treble for me. I can't do it. It's not that it sounds bad, it's just too much. It's just too much. So if you're a treble lover, you would like these. If you're a bass head, you would like them with those different filters. If you like a darker sound, if you like having some treble as a bass head, then the bass filter may be too much and might take away too much of the air and the treble details. I preferred the neutral reference filter. I just found that it was more balanced and even and had the best tonality and best clarity and best control of the frequencies by that Magnus Strong. So overall, sound signature preferences were with the reference filter. Tip-wise, as I noted, you get a ton of tips, and I actually have not used any of the tips on this tray. I love RHA tips, and I highly approve of all the tips that are on here, and I recommend them to everybody to use. You should be able to find any size that you need. But I use the ones that are pre-installed, and those are the dual density medium size. They just fit my ears, and they sound fantastic on the T20. So I didn't try any of the other tips, and I only used these tips. Didn't even try any third-party tips. No need. These things are perfect and my faves. Bass. Bass on the T20 is plentiful, very well extended, and you get a nice rumble in the sub bass, but it isn't super like rattle your brains unless you have the bass filter on. It's got a very nice, good sub bass impact, details, and clarity, but it's well controlled and it stays in its place. It doesn't overpower the rest of the bass. Mid bass and upper bass are a little bit on the elevated side above the sub bass, but not too much. It's just enough to give it a little bit of a fun factor and a little bit of impact and detail is just there. I mean, you just get everything that you want. It's isolated and separated out in instruments, and is very clean and clear and controlled. I didn't get any distortion from the bass on any song. It's very well controlled. The mids on the RHA T20s are extremely natural and smooth. They have a good airiness to them, very well detailed, and just have a romanticism about them, a slight kiss of warmth. Some may call it a honey sound. They just sound very smooth and pleasant, natural tones, and then the timbre is very well done. I do not have any issues at all with the mids. Instruments sound precise and accurate. You can pick out what each instrument is, and you can tell where it's placed and how the strings are being plucked and being pulled and rubbed and just tweaked, and it just sounds incredible. And the mids. Treble is extended out very nicely. You get nice air, very good detail retrieval. It has a smoothness about it, but a brightness at the same time. So it's a little bit on the brighter side, but it's not a shouty, it's not sibilant, it's not harsh, and not aggressive. It's just about right. To me, when the treble in a song starts to get a little bit on the verge, the RHA T20 is like a powerful sports car that you're driving, and you can feel your back end start to slide, and you're starting to drift a little bit, and you can just turn the wheel and it just brings it back in under control. It's always on the verge, but never out of control. And the T20 has that energy and just that cohesiveness to be able to just flow and go, okay, we're getting here, we need to bring it back in a little bit. And it just does a really nice job of controlling the treble, but yet never feeling constricted or restrained or out of control at the same time. It does an excellent job on that. And I find that the overall balance between the bass, the mids, and the treble is very cohesive and very smooth. And it's a well-oiled machine. If you add in the different filters, of course, that'll change a little bit. Soundstage on the T20 is nice and wide. You get very good width. It does not feel like a helmet on your head, and it does not feel like a box or like you're constrained. It has a nice airiness and openness to it, and it has a good sense of depth and width. And things just kind of go across the soundstage, come in and out. You can trail them all the way across from one side. Also, you can tell if something's really close or something's farther back, if something's to a side or something over on this side, or if it's traveling from this side over. You can just hear things just moving around on the stage, and you can tell depths and differences and very good layering. Also, it does a really good job of isolating out an instrument. So if something is solely over on one side, you'll know that it's over on that side, or if it's on this side, and it separates them out and isolates them very well. If things sound similar, you can tell which one is which and where they're placed. It does a really good job within Soundstage. Yes, the T20 does an excellent job for gaming and for movie watching. So I find that the T20 has a just north of neutral sound signature to it, has a little bit added in the bass and the mids, just enough to give it a fun factor, just enough to give it a little bit more of a romantic lushness and a enjoyment of neutral. And then the treble is just a little bit accentuated, brings in just a little bit more air and excuse me, and a little bit more details. And I love the sound of the RHA T20 Wireless. Changing from wireless neckband to the wired, I did not hear any difference. If the differences were there, they were so subtle I couldn't tell a difference. It was such a smooth transition, and I enjoy it on both. And this is the first IEM that I've had that has a Bluetooth option, in which I actually enjoyed it on Bluetooth. How's it pair with everything? Pairs great with all my gear, whether it be desktop or portable use. I mostly use them on portable because that's what they're used for, and it works great on off of phones, off of DAPs, with Bluetooth connected seamlessly, very easily, stayed connected very well, did not have any skips, jumps, or anything of the sort. And on the wire, it just works easily and it sounds fantastic. So no connection problems whatsoever. RHA has done a very good job with the T20 Wireless in that regard. The only other IEM that I currently have in-house that is similar in price point is the Meze RHA Solos, Meze RHA Solos. And the Meze RHA Solos have a warmer signature to them, a little bit more fun, thicker bass, and then a little bit more laid back upper mids and treble region. But I find that both of them are very pleasant, and these are a little bit more on the analytical side than the Meze. Do I recommend the RHA T20 Wireless? Absolutely. If you're looking for something that is wireless that you can use going out and about around the house, doing housework, working out at the gym, walking around at the park, taking trips, using them at the office, and you want to have a wireless so you don't have to deal with wires dangling around, the T20 Wireless is a good option. If you need something that you can easily transpose back and forth with, T20 is a great option. And if you want something that is of the wireless nature but has a more closer to neutral sound signature than a lot of the other options out there, then the RHA T20 is my recommendation. This has been Dave with DBS Tech Talk. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. But before we do that, I want to thank again RHA for sending over the T20 Wireless. I do greatly appreciate it. I have thoroughly enjoyed the time that I've had with them, and I do greatly appreciate RHA giving me the opportunity to hear the T20 Wireless. RHA, you rock, and you've made a fantastic product. Okay, now for the fun stuff. Down below is a subscription link and notification bell. If you haven't already, please check those off. Links down below for products talked about in this review, also for links to playlists used to test the earphones, for links to Discord, Patreon, PayPal, email, all the good stuff down there. If you haven't already, check those out. Also, I want to thank all my Patreons that have made this video capable, and I do greatly appreciate and love you guys very much, and appreciate everything that you do for DBS Tech Talk. And don't forget to check out the link for Patreon if you want to help support the channel. Thanks, and have yourself a great day.